is in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amiramar goal.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Vic Akers Wonderland Podcast episode. Spectacular. Yes, it's me, Adam. I'm back in the hosting chair, and with this episode, we're going to be going over the Arsenal-Brighton game. But I have to start with an apology. In the last episode, we were beset by technical issues, hotel Wi-Fi, playing up as usual, and the location may have changed, but the difficulty shall remain because, unlike the hotel, I'm now the one with technical difficulties. I have a cough and a cold, and I'm feeling distinctly under weather, but no matter, because to help me get through this pod is the magnificent Matt. Matt, thanks for jumping on and helping me out on this one. Hope your week's got a bit better than mine.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one on and off the pitch. Just really looking forward to talk about the women's game as usual, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, me too, and hopefully a nice 1 hour plus discussion talking about the Arsenal women will help ease the pain in my cranium and in my throat. But we shall persevere nonetheless. For those of you who may have not been following the Arsenal women's Twitter feed, Fremy has brought out his latest carpool episode, and it's Alessia Russo, our number 23, who has had the honour of setting foot in his taking a ride in his carpool and do the usual scrapes, talking about her time at Arsenal so far and the karaoke songs. No, I'm not going to make Matt do a karaoke. Sorry, listeners. But I am going to ask him, who would you like to see next jump in the carpool with Fremy? Who would you like to have interviewed and know a bit more about?
I think it's time to bring some of the players that are really quite shy or that we haven't seen on camera very much. So Leia Codina, Catherine Cole. Vic seems to be very comfortable with media at the moment, so I probably wouldn't say Vic at the moment. You know what? I'd love to hear what Noel would say as well.
Well, if those of you who have watched the episode, and it is worth watching, I do recommend it. Russo says that she likes, she's gone on really well with Palova, and the fact that she put forward her name. And yes, I think she's a bit of a joker. I think she'd gone quite well. I'd quite like to see Kim Little on it, because so many of the players, it's all very sort of japes and laughable and jokey. But for me, Kim has always been this very serious sort of, if the class was in chaos, she'll be the one sort of like rolling her eyes at everyone and carrying on with her studying, sort of sorry sir, sorry the class is a mess. I will try to learn the algebra, focus on the task, not on the fun. So I'd like to see how that would clash or mesh with Fremy's very outgoing, shall we say, personality. But I loved it. It was a good laugh, and I can't wait for the next one, and hopefully that triggers a good also run form maybe for Russo, maybe a good luck ride. She's obviously scored again against Leicester. And we did learn an interesting thing about Russo for the number 23 is because she's a Michael Jordan fan who also was Sol Campbell. Remember, that's why he chose the 23 shirt as well. So yeah, it was a good episode. Thoroughly recommend. But we begin as we always do with the news. There has been some. I know it's barely been a few days since our last pod, but news has broken, and there is only one story. We have half covered it, but I didn't want to just briefly touch on it. That the worst kept secret in women's football has been released, and that is that Emma Hayes will be the next UN. Now that I want to see a UN football team, the US women's national team. Matt, they've pulled off a real coup here, haven't they, America?
Yes, but also no, because you think about she's trying to do as much as she can. She's gone out and she's won as many titles and trophies with Chelsea. The only one that lose her is Champions League. So, I think she knew it was going to be a matter of time, but at the same time, it depends on who's going to be coming in, who's going to be leaving. There's an opportunity that there's about 8 of their players that are going to be leaving, could potentially be leaving at the end of their contracts. Some of them very key. So I think a lot of them will probably be questioning what they're going to do, whether or not it's going to be over the next 7 months now, because we're in November. But I'll be intrigued to see what happens, because it could be a total upheaval. And you kind of question some of the players that have come in as well, because it's the likes of Ashley Lawrence, it's her first season. Would she be questioning, well, Emma Hayes brought me to the club, and I don't know if anyone would be willing to keep me on. But I'll be intrigued to see how it goes. But when it comes to the US, I would probably say it's the hardest job because of how egotistic they are within their rights of being so egotistic. They've won the World Cup.
I get that, but I would say she's almost a perfect manager because of the environment, the winning culture that she's instilled at Chelsea, and the big names at Chelsea. And that's, she's got Sam Kerr in the team, probably one of the biggest names. She's had Pernilla Harder in that team. You think that she would be able to manage a team of egos like the United States, where again, winning is everything. Winning is something Emma demands in every game, and so do the players. You think that's a match made in heaven?
You would, but at the same time, the problem with, I would probably say, the Americas is the US are considered the biggest team out of everyone. Bear in mind that they actually, oddly enough, I've just put on there the contracts. They announced the contract, and it was 1.6 million. And compare that to what I believe Southgate's on 1.4 million and Serena's on 0.4 million a year.
Yeah.
And considering Serena's won the Euros and got to a World Cup final, something that Southgate has yet to do with England, not to point holes or anything, but
poke holes. Yeah.
It's just sort of, you've got a winning coach on your hands, and you're paying less than half of what you're paying a man that's only got in semi-finals and finals.
That's another pod altogether. The disparity between our England managers. I think it's a shrewd move by the USA. I think they've gone for, when we got Serena Wiegmann into the England team, it was talk of like, we've got the best in class manager. We wanted a manager who could win the Euros in our home nation. What did we do? We bought a manager who won the Euros in home nation. With America, they've gone, right, we want to get the most successful women's manager recently, who's had sustained, not just like a flash in the pan of one more trophy, like sustained domestic success. And look no further than Emma Hayes, who's taken Chelsea from, who were at the lower end of the WSL, to regular first place finishes. I mean, the last time they didn't finish top was when we won the league, and they finished third that season. But after that, it's just been win, title, apart from a European trophy. But
I will be intrigued to see how it goes, because it could be a match made in heaven, but then I imagine it could all fall apart.
There is the element of, I don't know if I want it to succeed or not. I don't wish ill on people, but there's going to be the element of Arsenal rivalry. It'll be interesting to see how Emma operates without a checkbook, who can just buy the players that she wants.
Yeah,
I do think she's definitely got the. I definitely think she could got the mental strength and the ego to manage these players. But is the team good enough at the moment, because they are transitioning out a lot of the older players. New players are coming in, younger players who don't have that winning experience. How winning at the international level? Are the US going to give her time? I'm going to watch this one with great interest. I'm very, as you've said, and I will steal your phrase, very intrigued to how it's going to turn out. I think there will be lots of moments where, as an Arsenal fan looking at next Chelsea manager, I think there'll be plenty of moments where we're going to have a laugh at. But I do think it's going to be a success. I do think it's going, and she got unfinished business because she tried managing, I think, in the NWSL years ago before she came to Chelsea, and it didn't go so well. And I think the US women's national team have done very well to get her. I couldn't see with their previous manager going. I couldn't really see any big name out there that could, that was the best name they could get. I can't think of another manager better than her. I mean, Gareth Taylor maybe. Sorry, that was a low blow. I can't think of any manager above Emma Hayes that the US could have gone for to take up that role. So good luck, Emma Hayes. Obviously, we don't wish you luck for this season, but best of luck for your future endeavours with the US women's national team. In other news, there were no big games for Arsenal this week, sadly. No Conti Cup. However, there is a little, I don't know if you're aware of this, there's this little sort of smaller competition for the teams that unluckily didn't qualify for the Conti Cup group stage. Only a few teams get to compete in this. It's called, I think it's called the Champions League. And Chelsea were one of those teams that sadly didn't qualify for the Conti Cup. So they've got to play this other competition instead. Matt, any games catch your eye over the midweek?
Yes, I managed to watch Rosengard play. I'm gonna have to remember now. Eintracht Frankfurt, and then I also decided to watch the Barcelona Benfica game, but I sort of gave up on that one because it was sort of inevitable when it came to half time. They were 2-0 up at half time. Yeah,
I think that was the one that finished, I think, 5-0,
yeah.
5-0, and Lyon won 9-0, and should say that disappointingly, Paris FC lost their game, which I think was 2-0 to Hack, I think it was in the end.
2-1.
2-1, my mistake. But yes, Chelsea were in it. They were away at Real Madrid, and it was a game not without controversy. Finished 2-2, but Emma Hayes wasn't happy with some of the refereeing decisions. I think you've now had a chance to see some of them, Matt.
Yeah.
Does she have a point?
I think I'm just feeling like I'm over and over talking about this because it's some of the referees are brilliant in some games and some referees aren't, but they have their ups and downs. It's just one of those. Looking at the stills that I've seen of one of the instances, it does look like I can understand why it was given as offside, but they've got VAR in that.
No, they don't. They don't have VAR at the group stage.
Oh no, it's not until the thing, is it?
And that's the thing. That's why it seems a bit unfair that you've got it in the knockout stage, but not in the group stage.
Yeah. Well, if you do think about it, you've got teams in there that have very small stadiums, the likes of Polton. I probably wouldn't say Hacken. Hacken got quite a huge stadium, about 15,000, I think. But there are stadiums that are quite small and they can't handle them because they don't have a backer as much as a PSG, a Lyon, Juventus, if they were there, Wolfsburg as well, etc. But yeah, just the refereeing standard just goes to show you it's not just across England that is terrible. There are other leagues and other nationalities that are having the same problems with the referees, and it's about time that either UEFA get them all together to try and figure out a pathway or how to make sure that the referees that refereeing and the refereeing standards are a bit higher, because at times I think the best example I could probably give is at the World Cup. The refereeing at times was spot on, and then other times you're thinking, oh, that's a bit dodgy. So
there were a few weird calls.
Yeah, like the Lauren James red card. That 100% you can give that. Yeah. That's fine. The great refereeing. I'm struggling with one problem with the World Cup.
There's a weird one with Daly. I remember when Daly got brought down the box and it looked like a clear penalty. And then VAR,
yes.
And then VAR said, "Oh no, it's not a penalty." And I was like, "Isn't it?" I couldn't see why.
There was a foul in the build-up or something like that, wasn't it? It's a really strange one, but yeah, it's just the standards need to be so much higher at the moment. We're not semi-professional anymore. A lot of these leagues are now going full-time professional. And if you've got refereeing standards that are there and the league's there, then for the Got to Do listeners, basically just imagine there's a couple of steps, and you're on semi-pro, which is like middle ground, well, lower to mid ground, and then you've got professional, which is higher up, and you've got a lot of these players struggling at the moment. It's a real shame.
Yeah. I apologize, listeners, if you did get a sharp blast in your ear. That's because I had a coughing fit and I didn't quite get the reed mic up in time. So apologies for your ears. But no, I agree. I mean, the refereeing sort of question. We're in a unique situation with women's football is that we haven't gone full implementation of VAR. And there are a lot of people who like women's football because there is no VAR. And I think with the men's, and I'm saying to a friend on Twitter, I'm pro VAR. I like VAR. I've watched other sports. I think it's great and I think it adds to the game. But I think that until you get your officials to a high enough standard, having VAR doesn't actually make things better. And as we've seen in the men's football, it's actually made certain situations worse. I think with women's football, we're at a point where we don't have to make that same mistake. And I want to get there are good referees in women's football. Let's not tar them all with the same brush.
No.
There are very good referees, and you say with the World Cup, plenty of referees. You know, they always say if you don't notice the referee, then they've done a good job. And I didn't really notice the referee most of the games. Only really when they made a big sort of VAR announcement, and I would say 80%, 80. I'll go, yeah, that's probably fair. So I would hold off big VAR implementation of women's football until we can get these referees trained as good as they can be, and I know they can be good referees, and I think that's the line we should draw first. Just to quickly run through the scores for those of you who missed the week's worth of football. Bayern Munich or Bayern München ladies went 2-0 up against Roma at half time, drew 2-2. So good result for Roma after a sterling competition last time out in the campaign. They're back and they've got the first points on the board. Ajax women have beaten PSG. One I think is actually hosted at the Johan Cruyff Arena, so fair play to Ajax. So PSG I think would have been one of the strong contenders. Obviously beat Man United in the playoff, off to a losing start there. Paris FC, as you mentioned, Matt, lost 2-1 to Hacken women. Bit of a shock that, because I thought Hacken would be the team everybody would beat basically, and obviously Paris, as we know, beat Wolfsburg and some team from North London. To get there, I thought they were going to win at 1. They've lost it, so that's a bit interesting. Real Madrid, Chelsea, we've spoken about. Carmona got a brace. It was Neem, Charles and Kerr with the other 2 goals, and it was Charles who had a very late goal, questionably disallowed. And the penalty, Fleming's fouled it from outside the box. It was a poor night. I still expect Chelsea to get through the group because that's the away game in Real Madrid, and considering the teams they have got in Paris FC and Hacken, I expect Chelsea to get out of that group regardless, unless something biblical happens. So we'll see what happens there. In other news, as you mentioned, you watched the Eintracht game. Eintracht, they beat Rosengard 2-1. Barcelona 5-0 Benfica, which is a bit of a shame because Benfica had Barcelona last time out, where our very own number 24, Lacasse, was playing for them back then. I was hoping they would do a bit better, but no, 5-0 battering. Brand women versus St. Polten. Brand 1-2-1. And of course, Lyon Femino, which I mentioned earlier, beat Slavia Prague 9-0. Slavia again getting battered in Europe. We're kind of used to it by now. You think back to Miedemar scoring, hat tricks and 4 goals against them and stuff. It does happen a lot, sadly. Just before we move away from Europe and move on to the upcoming Brighton game, I just want to got a question. Mark Skinner spoke about the fact that it's not fair that big teams aren't now qualifying. I say in inverted commas, big teams like Wolfsburg and Juventus and Arsenal aren't qualifying into the Champions League because of the qualifications in the playoff system. Do you think the competition this year is going to be weaker or has been detrimented by what we've seen with the timing of the qualifiers and the fact that they are the high proportion of big names have sadly fallen by the wayside?
I would have to say yes, and that's not down to teams deserving it or not deserving it. It would have been nice to see UEFA come up with a plan A or plan B to maybe say not an additional way of getting into the Champions League. Say if you fall out of the playoffs, because essentially, if you fall at the first hurdle, that's it. There's no Europa League, there's no Conference League, and on top of this, you also look at in the next couple of years, the group stage will be gone completely, and then basically it's going to be, I think, in the expansion, it's going to be similar to the men's next year, where everyone
I
plays
don't know about
8
this.
games. This has been reportedly, allegedly.
The Swiss model.
Yeah, so everyone plays well, not everyone, but you get eight games, and if you win all 8, essentially you go through without a bye, almost like a bye into the knockout stages, and then the rest play like a mini playoff, which I understand. I don't really see the logic in that when there's an opportunity to say, right, okay, we've got 24 at the moment, let's expand it to not. I think if not the whole 32 yet, because it would be too much. Maybe another 2 groups, that'd be another 8 teams. That then gives the opportunity for not just the Juventus, Wolfsburgs, and everyone else that missed out in Europe, but an opportunity for them to go, right, okay, well, there's other teams in there that you look at and go, there's 8 more opportunities there that can go into the group. So it's worth exploring, but I don't understand the where the stance from UEFA is at the moment. Is it more integrated towards the money side of things, or
I would think money. I think the only way you're going to be able to motivate change is if you can make a monetary case. If UEFA realise they can make more money out of something, I think it also says a lot when you think the likes of DAZN have had to they were going to put these games behind a paywall. They're now doing them for free again.
Yeah, that was down to fan backlash, wasn't it?
Well, there was a lot of fan backlash to begin with, but I imagine not many people. A lot of people go to DAZN for the Champions League. Yes, there are those who follow obviously the women's football in Spain and other leagues and so forth. But the Champions League is the big money spinner. And if your team's not in the Champions League, there's no reason to watch it.
So that's the other dent, isn't it? Essentially, you've lost about 3 or 4 different decent teams, and that's what's cost them.
You've lost Germany. You lost a strong German support. You've lost 2 English teams. You've lost an Italian team. You've lost a big chunk of what your subscriber pool would be. But yes, one to keep an eye on. I do think the competition should be expanded. But how that looks, I don't know. But I do think it is a competition that is rapidly gaining traction, especially with obviously the coverage it gets now. And UEFA would be unwise to sleep on it and not build upon the reforms they built in, I think it was 2 seasons ago now, when they shook up the competition for the better. I do think it needs to go up another gear. So hopefully something can happen then. Now, enough about European games. Let's talk about the WSL. And of course, Brighton. Now, Arsenal travel to Brighton Sunday. Very intrigued to see how this one goes. To steal the phrase from Matt yet again, Brighton, last 5 games, only one win. Only one win in the last 5 games, and that was away at Man City. 3 losses and a draw. So it's a bit of a curious one that they've lost to West Ham, Spurs, and Chelsea, but then drew with Man United and beat Man City. Matt, have you had a chance to catch an eye on Brighton so far this season?
No, but when you look across the leagues, you always see that the results and things, and you go, "Oh, okay." But they've really started this season unfairly well, but they've sort of seemed to slowly get back into it now, which is good to see. And if I'm honest, I'm sorry, my mind's been blinking on the manager, but since she came in and
Melissa Phillips.
Thank you. Yeah. Since she's come in January, she has done really well with that squad and bringing in some top talent in Vicky Lasada and Sophia Bagley as well, a bit in goal.
Well, we're going to come on to those in a bit.
But she's building a squad, and she basically went with, well, let's see how we do with this squad at the beginning. She didn't really bring anyone new into the club in January. She set aside, right, in the summer, we're going to kick on. And sometimes it takes a while for these teams to get points awards. The Villas, the Bristols, etc. They've all finally got themselves on board, and it just makes it a lot more easier. Not easier per se. I was going to say it makes it a lot more
interesting.
trying to avoid the word, but yeah, interesting because essentially now you've got teams that you don't expect to be at the bottom, and you've got teams that are you would expect to be like middle or low middle now sort of pushing at the moment for.
I mean, on that topic, I'm surprised Everton are so low down on the table. I just looked down and realised that they're 10th. I mean, I didn't realise that was the case.
That was down to injuries at the moment, but they're slowly working their way back up again.
You mentioned Melissa Phillips. I believe she came in, I think it was March this year. So they had Hope Powell in charge. Again, I said it before, I say it again, legend of the game. Was sacked. I think it was straight after 8-0 defeat to Spurs. And, if that happens, I mean... and they had their interim manager, which was Amy Merricks, I believe it was, and then Jens Scher, who came in for about a few games, and then they got rid of him. Yeah, got rid of them. Amy back in, and then went to Melissa Phillips. And they only won 4 games last season. 2 of them against West Ham. One of them was that thrilling 5-4 away at West Ham, and the other 2 teams. Actually, quick question, Matt, that's for you. What other 2 teams did Brighton beat? Have a stab.
I was going to say Reading.
Yep, that's an easy one. Yep.
I'd imagine Leicester.
No, Everton. They only 4 teams.
Was it Everton last day of the season?
No, it was Everton. They beat them at home.
Wharton Hall Park.
Yeah. Then they must have lost that one at Wharton Hall. They won the game at Crawley. Yeah. So they obviously weren't too great last season. Finished second bottom, just above Reading. But it looks like the team is given the sort of the management a bit of a sort of mental sort of shake, because Brighton's always been a setup I respect a lot, mainly from the men's side, done a lot of good stuff to get the team up to not just Premier League but to sustain being a Premier League team, from not just being regular relegation battle avoiders to now being a European team. Yeah, they've done great stuff with them and deservedly. So look at their women's team, and it looks like they've really gone for it this summer, as you mentioned. So I just want to go through some of the players they've brought in. Pauline Bremer, who we all remember from that Wolfsburg game, tapping in at the back post after Bottas's error. Vicky Losada, who we all remember as a former Arsenal midfielder in 2016. Like Pauline Bremer, also ex-Man City. And Thoris Dossier, who we all remember as that player who scored the late winner for Chelsea against Arsenal in 2019. Yeah, they've got a bit of Arsenal good and bad heritage, some of these players, but recently at Man United, now come over to Chelsea. Also within their ranks is, of course, Katie Robinson, a very promising youth product. You've seen a fair bit of, Matt. Any good? Has she been good stuff, you reckon?
So just to put it on there at the moment, she hasn't scored this season. She's only got 2 assists. England regular at the moment.
She always seems to be off the bench like 85 minutes. And here comes Katie Robinson, who's always the last one off.
Yeah, I think it's just she's still quite raw, and that's kind of the cause of concern for maybe both Brighton. Well, she plays more minutes for Brighton than she does for England, but just for me, I don't think she's 100% England level yet. And considering that Serena picks like 4 or 5 players and then goes, right, okay, I'm only going to make 3 subs, or I'll make 4 subs, and then that's it all game. It just feels like a bit of a waste to have someone like her on the bench and not even utilise her in any of the games. But that's a personal opinion, and that's not a Serena thing. It's probably helping her in the long term as well, having that access to the Champions League footballers of Beth Mead and people like that. But then again, if Beth gets into the England squad, I don't think Katie Robinson is there.
That's true. But I would say if she's playing for Brighton, if she's playing with Pauline Bremer and Vicky Losada, the experience she's going to get of playing with them, I mean that's got to elevate Brighton. And elevating seems to be what Brighton are doing at the moment. They've got a terrific 2-2 draw with Manchester United in their last home game. Turland with a first half goal, Toon with a screamer, worth watching back if you can. Bergsvan unfortunately got the winner in the 89th minute, but of course Rachel Williams, who else, added time, back post, corner, bundled it in, 2-2 draw, brilliant game. Interesting to look at the stats. It's both teams had 7 shots on target, but Man United did have more efforts. They had more possession, a greater XG. The next game against Man City is actually even worse. So Man City lost that game 1-0. It was Lee, who I thought was terrific in the Man United game, with a late winner, tapping at the back post. Bit of a smash and grab because it was 35 shots, Man City's, to Brighton's 6, and 13 on target to Brighton's 3. Man City dominated possession, dominated the XG, but Brighton, defensively disciplined, got the win. Matt, we've struggled with low blocks so far this season. Should we be worried?
I think that if anything, we'll find a way. Essentially, the game last week was a good. I thought Leicester were playing a high line instead of a low block. It was great to see that we were doing really well. Like, consider in that second half, you take the first half away because they essentially Leicester could have potentially had made it a lot worse than they did, but they decided to just go in at half time and try and see out the rest of the game, and they got undone so easily
and forgot how to defend.
Yeah. And just going back to the United game, I do remember watching it live, and at that moment in time, when you think that Brighton have got that second goal, you think that, right, that's it, game over. And then United come back in the last minute again with Rachel Williams scoring that header at the last post. Sorry, the back post even. It is one of those ones where you think, yeah, they have that. Even if they're in that low block, they have their moments of insecurity. And I think what will be key here is who Jonas starts in attack and who asks to go into the who's going to come on around that 60th minute.
That's one of my questions that's going to come up. The Brighton game, good thing you mentioned it. So after Toon scored to make it 1-1, I thought at that moment it was going to be all Man United pushing on for the win. They had the momentum. What I saw was suddenly Brighton come alive and absolutely pepper Man United's goal. Mario's made some brilliant saves. They hit the woodwork, and it looked like, oh, crikey, now Brighton got the momentum. Brighton get the goal. And then it seemed to sort of stop. And then suddenly Man United were the ones doing all the attacking. And I think you're right. Brighton made a mistake at 2-1 up of thinking, right, we're going to sit deep here. We're going to sit deep and we're going to try and ride out that result. And that's always a gamble. It's always a gamble, especially with a team with the attacking talent that Man United have. And they could only last to about 98 minutes. And Williams got a equaliser. And then we go to the Man City game. They get a late winner. And they did the same thing. Now, as we know, Man City's attack is not as efficient, shall we say, as Man United. But I did still worry with them, thinking they're going to make the same mistake here. They're going to sit deep and they're going to get, turned over. They did get very lucky. I think Man City hit the woodwork right at the end, but they got away with it. Big 3 points for them. I'm very intrigued to see, and again, I've stolen that phrase from you again. It's a good turn of phrase. I need to find an alternative word. How Arsenal are going to set up, as you're saying, in attack. So traditionally, we start with Russo as a striker, but then we'll bring Steiner off the bench. What we saw in Leicester was sort of Russo and Steiner working in tandem. Is that a setup we could play from the start, or do you think that is a setup with like maybe Russo as 10, Steiner as a forward? Could that be how we start, or do you reckon that's how we'll likely finish?
I would probably say at the moment, Steiner's in the better form, so I'd imagine Steiner would probably start. Depending on how Vib's feeling, because she said that she had a bit of a niggle in the warm-up against Leicester, so that's the reason why she didn't come on, and that was probably one of the reasons why Lottie was pushed into the attacking midfielder role, which she did really well in. I wouldn't be surprised if Jonas gives it a go. Whether it's in this game, I'm not too sure. I would probably imagine if anything, he was probably going to do it at one of the Meadow Park games. I don't think he'll try it against, say, a Chelsea or a Tottenham or United. But yeah, essentially, effectively, that last as soon as he made those changes, it was a 4-2-4. If you think about it, but I think we found some players that found some form, so it's important to keep them going. So if we're going on the front three, I'd probably go Stina. Stina, Caitlin, and Chloe. And then I'll probably have Vic to start in the central midfield. Take Frida off because she is.
Well, this is a follow-up question. Actually, is do we drop Frida for this one? Have we given her enough chances? Do we have to say, "I'm sorry, Frida, you're just not on form like you were last season"? We put a Russo or even a Viv in that position, or maybe move Kim there and Palova in the 6.
I think no matter what we put essentially what you could do is you could have both Viv and Kim swapping over because they both can do that sort of job. Whether or not they are going to be on that, but for Frida, I think it's okay. I don't know I seriously still believe that Hengarisa has mentally scarred.
Well, we say this all the time, don't we? We say that that Frida is suffering a bit from being managed under Hengarisa for a few games over the World Cup. There's no doubt that she's not come back the same player. The way that the World Cup went for Norway wasn't great. And Hengarisa is not a great manager, as we've discussed with England, TGB, and now Norway. But that can only last for so long. At some point, Frida's got to find some form. But I do agree. I think this is a game. I think in
January, when she comes back after a long break, she'll be able to recover. And I imagine come the game against Everton at Meadow Park, she's going to be a different player than what we're seeing at the moment.
Brighton away was obviously last season. We got a clean sheet. It's our last clean sheet in the WSL since we haven't managed one since that game in the WSL. Can you see us getting one this time around?
I hope so. And it feels more like the more the season drags on and we haven't got that clean sheet, the more you sort of worry towards the games against the likes of United, Chelsea, City away, because we know City away is going to be a difficult game. We haven't won there for a long time.
2017.
There you go. There's your favourite stat. Even Chelsea away, there's no guarantee that you can get a clean sheet against Chelsea away. I mean, the last time we did it was in our title run 2 years ago, and that was 0-0.
Yeah.
And either way, that day we could have quite easily won that game, or they could have quite easily won it.
I think the latter, but it was a stonking game nonetheless. I don't think we got Chelsea away into the new year. I think we got.
Yeah, that's at Stamford Bridge in March.
Bridge.
We're playing at home on December, so at the end.
Should have said that one. While we talk about Chelsea, 45,000 sold already. If you haven't got a ticket, do try and get one, because we are trying to sell this one out like we did with Wolfsburg, and that would be pretty awesome. I hope we can get clean sheet against Brighton, because it's becoming a monkey on our backs that we do need to shake off. It's becoming a narrative, and it's getting a bit ridiculous now.
It's also a worry. It's going to play on the back of minds of the defenders and goalkeepers altogether. But just quickly on attendances, the Southampton sales have gone through at the moment thanks to Brian from the supporters club. He's been keeping in touch with them. They've just gone over 10,000, which will be a record sale. You've got your ticket as well.
I've got my ticket.
I've got my ticket.
For listeners, I have just holding up my Arsenal away. It came in the post today, and I was like, "What's this mysterious envelope?" And it was Arsenal branded. I'm thinking, what? I completely forgot, because I thought the tickets would come to me from Southampton FC, and I was like, "Ooh, it comes in a pouch." I think how very grand. Yeah. So no, massive thanks for that. Can't wait for that game, Southampton away. It's going to be good fun. Southampton. Good that we got the. Did you say it was a sellout? Was it our allocation?
At the moment, it's. I think we're sold out in our allocation. I think we were given something. I think maybe 1,000, maybe even a little bit more. But for them, it will be a record attendance at the moment. It's just over that 10,000 mark. If people can push a little bit more, then obviously it'll be only Southampton end. But it doesn't stop you from going and sending. It's going to be a good game.
I think it's going to be a great occasion, the Southampton game, absolutely. Sorry, as you're saying with the Brighton, the clean sheets, we're sort of going wild off topic. Yeah. Yes, we need to get clean sheets. I mean, I think back to the Bristol City game, we conceded with the only shot on target they had. They scored for Leicester City. They had 2 shots on target, and we conceded from both of them. And it's getting sort of ridiculous now that we are limiting teams to very few chances, but they are converting them. One hopes is something that is going to come out of our system, and if we get a clean sheet at Brighton, then we can get right. That's it, fine. We draw a line, move on. I think this is going to be a game of patience. I think Brighton are going to be against Man City. They sat deep into the low block, and that's what I'd expect them to do because that's what I'm used to Brighton doing. But against Man United, they didn't do that. They actually engaged Man United. They pushed up. They pressed them into mistakes. It was very awkward for Man United to progress them with the ball. The only time they really got joy is when Brighton decided we're going to sit deep and try and ride the result out, and that's when the game turned. So I think, I think Brighton might actually, they might actually come for us. I think they might push on us a bit like Leicester did, and that might give us the advantage, providing we don't have a rubbish first half. If Jonas works out how to bypass the press like we did in the second half against Leicester City, there's the potential to get some real joy. When you think of the counter-attacks we had with Rousseau and Ford and Palova, Lacasse with her pace. So it's all about us getting it right, not from minute 45, but from minute 1, and engaging the team and winning our duels, as Arteta would say. When you lose a duel, you're upset. Winning those duels and winning the 50-50s, not only getting the ball in their half, but being proactive with it, not just passing it around and doing ball retention exercises like a certain side from Manchester like to do rather than scoring. Then actually, being direct with the ball. Just a quick shout out. I don't know if you've seen, did you see the comments Jewel Roord made about Man City?
Yes, I have.
Yes, just if you can go and they're on Twitter, so I think Sky Sports shared them out. She just compares the football that they play in Germany to the football they play at Man City. Worth having a read. Basically saying that Germany, it's all about winning, and Man City, it's all about keeping the ball. Wolfsburg, rather. Sorry, not German Wolfsburg, but yeah, same. Yeah, the German league is all about winning. So I think there's a good chance for Arsenal if they're passive, if they're like the first time against Leicester. Then they let Brighton hem them in like Leicester did. They'll be in trouble. But I think we can win and make it, and that'll be 5 wins in a row in the league, which would be massive. So moving on to some team predictions then. So Matt, how are we going to line up?
I keep on saying I want Sabrina in goal for things like this, but I think. This one,
every time we say we want Sabrina in goal, Manu goes in goal.
I genuinely think this is a Manu game because of they'll try and press from the front, and Manu will come out and be like a 11th player on the field on outfield player instead of not just just the goalkeeper like Sabrina is. I think this is the Manu game, but if Sabrina goes in goal, fair play. I'm not going to be against that because we've got 2 really good goalkeepers, and they're both they'll have a really good game no matter what against I nearly said Bristol then, Brighton. Left back, I'd imagine you're going to left back. See, that's the other thing as well, because Katie's now playing on the right side, isn't she? So,
actually, good point. Actually, I'll raise this question to you because we're going to talk about the fullbacks. Should Noel Maritz be worried that she's been ousted by a left back?
I don't think so. I think she knows. I think she realizes that things haven't come about the way that she would have wanted. I know she signed a new contract and everything, but I just have a feeling this is her last sort of season with us. No, I've nothing against her, but I imagine that she will probably want to go back towards Switzerland, so maybe she might go back to Germany. But at this moment in time, as consistent as she is, and she's a great player, don't get me wrong, it's just I don't think things have come to plan. She would have liked to have gone and won a title. I don't think she would have wanted to win more than just the Conti Cup at the end of her career. So hopefully we are able to give her something back. But
I think the Marit situation is interesting because she obviously lost her place last season to Wienreuter,
Mm.
and then sort of wrestled it back from her in the second half of the season. And obviously Wienreuter got injured. She probably thought, oh, well, I've got a clear run at right back. And then because of we've got so many good left-sided players, Jonas has thought to basically crowbar McCabe in as a right back at the expense of a Ritz. So, yeah, very interesting to watch that one. So you were saying left back.
Yeah, left back. That's the problem, isn't it? It's either you put Steph there or you put Casey there. I'd probably say you want Steph there for this one, which then probably means you're moving Casey to the right. Then it's about that midfield again. In the centre, you imagine it'll be Lottie. And depending on Leia's condition, I'd probably imagine Amanda is currently first choice out of the remaining. Jen wasn't on the bench last week, so I imagine she was resting.
Well, she had a minor complaint, didn't they? Her, Kim, and Velti said they had a minor complaint issue. Yeah. So hopefully it's cleared up.
Yeah, so fingers crossed they're all well. I'm just hoping that it was like something like a stomach bug or something like that. So just so that they could get it over with, and maybe they were isolating at home and watching the game. But hopefully they're back at training. But then again, in the video, you did see Jen actually training, introducing Alessia. So
yeah, well, we don't know when that was filmed, do we? There could have been.
Yeah, that's true.
I did like that touch. I must admit, I did. I mean, talking to players that should be on it, I think Yen Beattie would be a very interesting carpool contestant, rider, guest. Yeah, I think she'd have a lot of, with her experience, she'd have a lot of stuff she'd be able to tell. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're going Catley, Lotta, Instead, and McCabe.
Yeah.
I think the same. I think at the moment Lotta and Amanda look like they're more in tune than they were in the qualifiers. And I think if that's the case, stick with it and let them build that partnership together, because you don't break it up now. Keep it ticking over, and if you've got Kadina and she's still not fully fit, have her on the bench. You can go off the bench as an option and work a bit more game time into it. But I think at the moment it looks like to be Lotta and Amanda, and that looks to be fine at the moment. And we need Lotta to be on her game, because she had a very good game at Leicester. Thinking back to that tackle and that interception at 0-0, brilliant bit of defending. When you see that again, I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to go for Sabrina in goal. You haven't seen much of her. Jonas might think long ball, beyond the press. So I'm going to guess Sabrina for this one. Now, the midfield depends if our midfield duo have shaken off their complaints, injuries. If they have, I think he'll revert back and he'll put Velti. Now, what I would like to see Palova given a crack at 10. That's the position she played, which is Ajax. I don't think he would. I think he will play. If he's going to play Palova, it'll be at 6. So I'm going to be expecting Velti, Palova, and I think Frida needs to be dropped to the bench, and I think Kim Little needs to start. And I think it's just whether is Mead fit enough to start a WSL game, but then do you then take out Lacasse because she's firstly she's got a really good chant that's going to get an airing, and secondly she's actually on form because she's scored against Leicester and has looked very sharp in the games. Do you think it'd be fair to still keep Mead on the bench?
I think it is important to keep her on the bench and give her those minutes. The fact that I think at the moment, apart from the game against Bristol where she did come alive, again she's hit the post, and then towards the end of the Leicester game she hit the post as well. She's been relatively quiet in the Conti Cup game against Bristol. I think it's going to
set up Frida's goal. We should just say she did get an assist.
She's doing well, but she's not the Mido of old. I know it's going to take a while for that to happen, so I'd rather keep her on the bench for now, and that would be more of a worry for like the last 20 minutes for the opposition.
Just a quick yes or no. Do you think she'll be ready for the Chelsea game?
I would imagine so, yes.
Because we know she loves the goal against Chelsea. She really loves the goal against Chelsea. So she is our weapon of choice. So hopefully, I think you're right. I think we shouldn't rush her back. And I think the beauty is we don't need to rush her back. We don't need to rush her back
that's been the great thing about Viv as well. They haven't rushed her back. She's gotten in minutes slowly, and she's not bothered about when she gets on. When she gets on, she gets on.
Do you think they'll both get minutes?
I would imagine so. Yes, I think Viv will probably come on around the 80th minute. Beth will probably come on around that 60th minute. The other option is Crawley could actually play left or up front.
Well, yes. If you play FIFA, it does show Chloe Lacasse as a left winger. So she has got that. She's a bit flexible in that she can play both wings. So you could play maybe Mead on the right and Lacasse on the left.
But then, because Caitlin did really well in that Leicester game.
I mean, that finish. I mean, that finish she got, and the pass to send Lacasse away in the first place. This is the thing. Then I said playing Kim Little and Velty. If they're fit, they should come back in. But is it not a case that maybe we should keep Kyra in the midfield and maybe drop Leah Velty, give Kyra more minutes on the ball because she so in that second half against Leicester she was so good. Could we maybe think this is why we brought them in so we can extensively rest the likes of Little and Velty? Would it be unfair if we took Kyra out after 2 good games on the trot?
I don't think so, no. And we've all been calling for more players that were able to step up when needed to. You go back to last season with the amount of injuries that we had basically academy players on the bench, and that's nothing against Leah Harbour, Michelle Argaman, Katie Reid as well. They're all players that are now going out and getting more experience on a dual loan. So there's nothing against them going out and we bring in these big names because they're going to bring in the experience when they come back. I think that having Kyra there, the fact that she can play both as a defensive midfielder or she can also be that Kim Little replacement in the future, however Jonas sees it, or whoever the manager might be. Maybe Jonas decides that he might decide after whenever that he's had enough, and he might get offered the Sweden job. You never know what's going to happen in the next 3 years. But I think we have essentially right now we've sorted out our midfield for the future.
I must admit, we haven't talked about Katrine Molakul. The midfield depth we've got there, it's scary.
It really is. I do feel a bit sorry for Katrine at the moment because she's getting barely any minutes, and the only time she's getting minutes, Conti Cup, and that's not coming around every couple of weeks. It almost feels like every 3 weeks they got a game at the moment. I would like to see how he would try and change the team to try and fit everyone around and rotate, but at least he's got that option with the Conti Cup, whereas if it was Champions League, it would always automatically be your Leah Velty, Kim Little, and you probably have Frida Mardam at the moment playing in that role, or Victoria Plova.
I would like to see more. What I think Jonas will pick as a prediction is I think he'll start Russo and he'll start Cass on the right and Ford on the left. He'll start the fit Little and Velty in the 2 midfield, and you know what? He'll probably start Frida at 10. That's what he'll probably do. He will probably do that. I'm not saying he's right. What I would like to see, I'd like to see Cooney Cross give another crack in the pivot, and I'd like to see her alongside Palova with Kim at the 10. But the idea that Kim and Palova could interchange, they could swap around in the midfield. So you could have Palova make forward darts, and Kim could maybe retreat back into the pivot, or vice versa, depending on the situation. And then so I would like to see Russo start with Lacasse right, Ford left, a midfield 3 of Little, Palova, and Cooney Cross, and then the 4 of Lotta, Ilestead, Catley, and I'm fine with McCabe as a right back for the moment. There is a case that maybe you could put in Moritz and that'll give you a more logical right back, but then the trade-off is that you're losing McCabe, and she's in brilliant form at the moment, so I don't want to lose her. And then Sabrina in goal. That's why I think, Matt. What's your preferred lineup? So to summarise,
I would say Manu in goal for this one. Left back Steph, right back. I think we're in agreement here. Nothing against Noel Moritz. It's going to be Katie McCabe just because Katie's really doing really well so far. Centre back, got the partner in of Lotta and Amanda. then the three midfielders I would probably go with, if they're fit, Kim Little, Leah Volti, and then Victoria Pelova. Then on the left, I would have Caitlin. On the right, I would have Chloe. And then up front, I'm going to go a bit different. I think Stina's going to come in.
So you're going to start Stina and put Roos on the bench?
Yeah.
Okay. Just going to quickly run through the goal scorers from the weekend for Arsenal. Lacasse, Russo, Ford, Pelova, Stina, and Lena Hurtig. We've not even mentioned the idea of Lena Hurtig starting on the left. Of all the, I know. Imagine Lena Hurtig starting on the left ahead of Ford. That'd be an interesting choice. Although
she's taller, isn't she? So she can get to
aerial presence. Of those six, if you were to have guessed, who of those six do you think would likely score again against Brighton?
Of those six, I would probably say Stina. And I would probably, if I had to pick another player, Victoria scored against Brighton there, so I wouldn't be surprised if she did score another one. What was the score last? Was it 4-0?
It was 4-0. It was 2 from Stina. She got like 4 goals, and I think like 4 or 6 minutes. So that was really like ridiculous. She got 2 early goals.
Yeah, she scored within the first couple of minutes, didn't she?
And then I think she should have got a hat trick. It was incorrectly ruled out, and then she just she never got that third goal. So maybe we should get a Stina hat trick. That'd be quite nice, because she tried so hard in the previous game, didn't get it. Palova scored, and I think Frida scored from a header. I think there was a rebound header at the end, but the Palova, she got her first Arsenal goal. So I think Stina and Palova are good shouts. And best of luck to them, and best of luck to the Arsenal. Before we wrap up, just a quick time to run over all the fixtures and maybe get some, if I can eke out some predictions from Matt. So, firstly, Saturday, 18th of November, Chelsea women versus Liverpool women. This one you say this is on the BBC, I believe.
Yes, BBC on the Saturday.
Saturday afternoon, 1:30. There is an international men's break, so there is no excuse why you can't watch this one instead. So, Chelsea women versus Liverpool women. Chelsea, same form as us in the last 5. Draw and 4 wins. Liverpool slightly less so. What are your thoughts?
Chelsea are probably going to come out firing. I imagine this one will be like a 3-0 victory. This oddly enough, these 2 fixtures have come about around the same time that the pitches were frozen.
Yes, you're right, because it wasn't this time last year, but I remember when it happened, we had the Chelsea game was 5 minutes. I think I played they put special tents, put tents on the pitch to try and desperately thaw it, and they played 5 minutes of it, and they're like, nah, mate, it's ridiculous. And then we had the legendary our game got cancelled, so Lottie bought everyone beers, which was very nice. Liverpool 2 wins out of the last 5, including a draw against Spurs last time out. I think it'll be 3-1. I think in the replayed fixture when they actually played, I think it was 2-1 in the end. I think Liverpool took an early lead and Chelsea got it back. I can't see anything other than Chelsea win. I think it's 3-1, routine. But I'll predict that is it Missy Bo Kearns? I think she'll score, but I think Chelsea will win 3-1. That's my prediction. So you're going for a 3-0.
I'll go 3-0 Chelsea. Yeah.
3-0. Okay. So next up, Everton women versus Bristol City women. Obviously, we are a good friend on the pod the other day talking about Bristol City. They got off the mark with 3 points, but then again, so Villa. So relegation battle still underway. This is another 6-pointer. Everton are looming close. I believe if Bristol win this, if Bristol were to win this, they would go above Everton onto 6 points. But it is at Walton Hall Park.
Yeah.
Will you be at this one?
No, because I'll be watching the Arsenal game. The difference is if we were, the difference was last week, because we were on the late kickoff, I was able to go to the Everton Chelsea game. They didn't quite set it out. I think it was just over 1,500 there, but still will be an interesting game. I think this one's going to be. I think this one's going to be similar to Bristol West Ham, where Bristol nicked it in the last minute. I think it's going to be a 4-3 game, but I think this time.
4-3.
I think Everton might nick this one.
Wow. Oh, you think 4 for Everton? Well, you're really
Yeah.
going for the goals. Okay. This one's obviously got a lot of personal bias attached to it. Obviously, the Arsenal travel to Brighton, 2:00 kickoff. This is on the Sundays, Sunday 19th. This is on Sky Sports. So if you are a Sky Sports subscriber, do tune. I don't know if it's on Sky Showcase or if it's one of these freebie games they're showing, but it is on Sky Sports. So do be sure to tune in for it. As Lottie sadly isn't here, Lottie sadly can't make this one. I'm going to take up her mantle and predict a 3-2 win for Arsenal on her behalf. Matt?
You know what? I'll go a bit higher this week. I'll go 4-1 to Arsenal.
To Arsenal. Glad you clarified that. 4-1 Arsenal. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, I'd love it if we got another 6-2. Because that was so much fun. But yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take that any day. Leicester. Leicester City. 3:00 kickoff. Leicester City at home to Tottenham Hotspur. So Leicester obviously looked very good in the first half, not so great in the second half when they played us. Spurs have been, and it pains me to say it as my throat gets ever tighter, they've been decent this season so far.
Yes, but they've been heavily relying on Martha Thomas getting the goals.
That is true.
That's the question. Can you stop Martha Thomas, or can you stop the supply to Martha Thomas to stop them from getting amongst the goals?
Isn't that a bit Aston Villa relying on Rachel Daly last season?
It is, but at the same time, you do look at what's happened at Villa. If you stop the supply to Rachel Daly, they don't really score unless you're Maz Pacquiao that's coming in from a corner and heading into the back of the net because someone didn't cover the run.
But yes, so this will be at the King Power. So as we see with Arsenal, it's a tricky away ground if you're not up to it. I think we got a bit lucky in our second half the way that Leicester imploded, although we were brilliant. I can't see Leicester making the same mistake against Spurs. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
Oh, I was going to go I was thinking 2-1 to Villa.
No, this is Leicester Spurs.
Oh, Leicester Spurs. In that case, then yeah, let's 2-1 Leicester.
2-1 Leicester. And the next one's the Villa game. So West Ham Villa, also a 3:00 game. West Ham at home to Aston Villa. Again, West Ham 4 points, Villa 3 points. Another relegation tussle already. Or maybe we're going a bit too early on that. West Ham at the moment, form-wise, 1 win in 5. Same with Villa. I'm going for a draw, 1-1.
I'll go with Villa winning 2-0.
So you think Villa might be on the up now? To be fair,
I just have a feeling that something's going to happen because they did really well last week.
We should just say Villa have got a really good run of fixtures. Obviously, they beat Bristol. They've now got West Ham away, and then they've got Everton at home. Now, if you win those games, you look at Villa, they're flying up the table, and Everton and Bristol and West Ham are the ones that they'll drop behind because those are big head-to-head matches. So yeah, it could well be that Carla Ward might be their team might look a bit more comfortable in a few weeks' time. We'll wait and see. But you're going for, sorry, Matt, what was your prediction? West Ham going
Villa winning Villa winning 2-1.
2-1. Last fixture before we wrap up is the big one. The big fixture of the weekend. It's the 4:30 game. I think that's also on Sky Sports, and that is Manchester United women versus Manchester City women at Old Trafford. I am very, very much looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a brilliant game, a brilliant occasion. Two teams who believe, rightly or wrongly, that they should be either winning the WSL or at least competing at the top. As things stand, Man United are 13th.
I wish.
I wish. I wish. They are third with 12 points, and Manchester City are 6th with 10. Gareth has lost his last 2 games. Could this be 3 in a row?
It's at Old Trafford, and they're expecting a huge crowd. I think it's lower than what I think it's on the 35,000 mark. So it'll be up there as one of the top 5 attending WSL matches of all time. They haven't lost at Old Trafford yet.
Yeah, and they won their end of last season when it was at the LSV. They beat Man City 2-1, which was their first ever derby win. I think it was. It was the Garcia, I believe, got the late winner. I mean, it was a stupid game to watch. I mean, some of the just like really. I remember there were some ridiculous misses. Roebuck got sent off.
Yes,
and hasn't played for Man City since. That's another podcast. Where is Ellie Roebuck? Can someone put a search warrant out for her? Someone. Where is she gone? So what do you think result was in? So Man United are going in this with only 2 of the last 5 wins. They've only won 2 games out of 5. But they've quite a few draws. Brighton, obviously, and then us and Leicester. Drops a lot of silly points. Where do you think this will be a win for the Red Half of Manchester, or is this going to be a draw?
I really want United to get that loss, and because it's going to hear all of the undefeated stuff, and it's just kind of cringy, and you can't. Sooner or later, they're gonna lose one of their games, and it's the same with Chelsea. Sooner or later, they will lose one game. If you don't go undefeated. I know we nearly did, and we nearly.
We lost one game.
I think we lost by a point. Essentially, we lost the title by a point, and essentially that, some may argue, lost us the title, considering that Chelsea lost 2 games that season as well. But anyway, I digress. I would like City to win, especially because that 1-0 kind of shook them up. So I would hope that they hopefully get their shooting boots on at Old Trafford, and I think the experience that Hemp and Kelly have will put them over the line.
I kind of have mixed feelings this one, because I want to see Man City stay in the mud and but I don't want Man City to be so bad that they end up getting rid of Gareth Taylor. It's kind of like the Ten Hag conundrum at Man United, that you want Man United to keep losing. As an Arsenal fan, obviously, you want Man United to keep losing, but then there's a risk of they could lose their nerve like they did with Ollie and then sack the manager. You want to keep him in. It's that balance between wanting success but then wanting to fail. So, whereas with Man United, I do want them to lose, because obviously they are only 1 point behind us, and if this could be a 3-point, but loss against us, that'd be even better. So I would want, on the balance of play, I would want Man City to win. But it's one of these, I want both teams to lose, and the best result from in that case is a draw, and it's 2 points lost each. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and I think that's it. That's all the fixtures mapped out. So hopefully I'm accurate. I mean, which we found out 2 weekends ago, I'm very good at predicting, and then we found out last weekend I'm absolutely rubbish. So do not take our words as gospel. But if there's anything anything greater than exciting the words in last weekend, then we're in for a real treat. So I can't wait for that. But that's it. We're out of time, and my throat is just about to pack in. I want to have a massive thanks to Matt for not only being a fantastic co-host, but for being able to cover for me as I desperately try and fix my throat off air. We'll hopefully be back, and hopefully I will be in better form and better health. After the weekend, we'll pick apart what on earth happened at Crawley, good or bad. But until then, just a quick chance for Matt to say where we can find you on social media.
So you can find me at MattLR28, or you can find us all on VAW Pods.
And if you want to find me where I'm tweeting and will hopefully be in better health soon, is at Adam Salter 4. But that's it. That's all the time we have. Another weekend preview done. Looking forward to the Brighton game. Hopefully another win, another 3 points, and continue to chase down Chelsea. Up the Gunners.